Hi, this is Chris at Clever Unicorn Games and the Unicorn Collective, back with another interview. Today I have Gary Chavez from GCRS Games with me. How are you doing today, Gary?
Great, Chris. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. When you're not designing or playing games, what is it that you like to do in your spare time?
Oh, uh, um, I like to. My wife and I met salsa dancing, and with the pandemic and everything, we haven't done that in a while. But yeah, I do. I enjoy dancing. There's a great. I live in Cincinnati, Ohio, and there is a really wonderful salsa Latin community, very vibrant here. We have lots of friends, and yeah, I do enjoy going out and dancing with my wife.
I expect you can do it at home as well, if just the two of you. Bit of
What was
practice.
that?
You can practice at home as well, just the two.
Sure. When the kids aren't hanging all over us, yeah, we try to practice every once in a while.
What would you say is your favorite board game?
King of Tokyo, as from a player and from a designer perspective, it's just you put in front of a person and they just kind of immediately understand what it's about, and then you show them the dice and say this is basically Yahtzee, and they immediately understand it, and it's just so simple. And and you want to play with the standees, and it's just so colorful. It's just an all around. I can put it in front of a 6 year old, and I can put it in front of a 60-year-old, and they both want to play it.
Yeah, no, I like King of Tokyo as well. It is pretty good in as luck and dice-based games go. It's probably the best one because it is very exciting and there's a lot going on with it, but it is quite short as well. So and you can get a couple
Hmm.
of games of it in. Yeah, I like it. And even simpler, if you've ever played Zombie Dice,
Yes, I
which is an
have.
even more simpler sort of version of that rolling, Yahtzee style game. It's fun as well.
Yeah, there's something very satisfying about the clacking of dice in your hand. That I think designers, we tend to forget the auditory and the tactile experience of playing games, and that game has got that cornered.
What kind of games or genres of games inspire you to make games? So what is it like? Say for instance, with your current game, what is it that made you want to design that game?
I was in a I was at a friend's board game night, and there was a corner of the room that was playing Werewolf, and they played it over and over and over again for hours. Some people came in, some people left, but there was always that core group. And um, I heard a Werewolf, and I played it. Once or twice myself, but I was really intrigued by this group and the social interaction that was going on. And so I wanted a game when I made Saints and Scoundrels, my latest game. I wanted something with that social aspect to it, where you're trying to figure out if the other person's lying, and the game is the components, I guess, kind of keeping track of uh, the logistics of the game, but the game is above the table. You know what I mean? It's between the people, not so much of the components, but between the people.
When you have the idea in your head for a game, like Saints and Scoundrels, what is it that you do first to take that game from your mind to the table?
Um, I brainstorm a lot about what I want. Um, what's the essential experience I want the players to have? What kind of um, components I want to use? I talked. As I said with King of Tokyo, you get that clacking of the dice. For this game, I didn't want that, but one of my games, I do want that. For Ancient Scoundrels, I wanted the central experience to be um, the interaction between the players, uh, and a lot like one of my. And then I look at towards inspirations to other games, and one of the games that came up uh, that was Coup. And I played it a few times, and it's like, oh, this is an interesting dynamic. I think there are some mechanics that I like about this that I can bring into my game. So I start looking at other games for inspiration. Then just brainstorm, and then the real work is you just bring it to your playtest group, and failing miserably. You bring the first few times you bring a game, it's gonna go wrong. Something's gonna happen. It's gonna be awful, and it's just a matter of trudging through it. I call it the churn.
Like in The Expanse.
When you just go. What was that?
That's a term from the TV show The Expanse, and also the book series.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. The churn when it's just torture. You just got to go through it, and it's rough and it's tough, but you have to have the vision and say, okay, I think I know there's a game here. I just got to get through this, and you kind of uh, see what goes right, see what goes wrong, and you continually improve. And after a year of iteration or so, you end up at a great place.
You've now taken a game from all the way from your mind to market, and now you're in the process of getting it out to people. During that process, what is the biggest one or two obstacles or hurdles that you've hit, and how did you overcome them?
Um, Pre-marketing is probably one of the toughest things to do, to understand ways to efficiently get your game in front of people. Is not an easy thing to do. Um, uh, you could go to the game store, and wait for people. You could go to a con and wait for people, but trying to make use of your time, you could go to the store every day and just wait for people, but try to try to do that in an efficient way where you get the right audience for your game, and enough people there is really not an easy thing to do. Um, and I so getting the pre-marketing right is one obstacle. I would say the other obstacle was art. Um, and I think that's more the just the function of how vibrant the game industry is now. There's so many games with such wonderful art that's kind of become the standard now. The expectation that you're going to have, if you're going to make a game and it's going to be thematic, it needs to have really great art. Um, and for Saints and Scoundrels, I did the art myself. I had fooled around with a program called Daz to make the figures, and I was okay. And I really wanted a pulp theme, but my first few tries at getting it were not, it didn't look great. And I really had to study about color and composition, and really look at a lot of old pulp covers to get the mixture right. Until finally, someone would look at it and say, "Ah, look, that's a pulp cover. That's pretty cool." And oh, great, okay, fine. And I would poll test that, with the play testers, and how is the art? And consistently good get, four out of five, and 4.5 out of five. So yeah, the art, getting that right, and then the pre-marketing, those were the biggest challenges for Saints and Scoundrels.
Good answers. Yeah, yeah, very good answers, and I agree with you on both of those points. Those are probably the two
Yeah.
biggest things, especially not just the hardest things in the industry, but the two things that are the most important when it comes to launching on Kickstarter.
Yeah, exactly. And it's tough for, if you don't do your own art, especially as a new Kickstarter, it's kind of tough to break that barrier. I even have some friends who are now, after their first experience with Kickstarter, are trying to make games that don't need a lot of art, just to avoid that. And my the way I resolve that is I'm just going to do the art myself.
But it certainly takes a big cost out, because as well, the art with a Kickstarter, the art is generally the most expensive thing that you've bought when it comes to launching.
Yeah.
So yeah, from your point of view, yeah, that makes it
Yeah.
a lot cheaper.
Exactly.
Have you ever played a game that you didn't like? You don't have to name it, but what was it about the mechanic or the theme or the game itself? What turned you off that game?
I think what generally turns me off are yeah, when I envision games, I envision going to Thanksgiving or Christmas and playing with family members. I mean, that's how I grew up. And when I play a game that I don't think will fit that environment, I tend not to like it. Uh, I played a game, I play tested a game, um, and it was really it looked really simple, but it was actually very complex, and you actually had to play it like 2 or 3 times to develop a strategy. Because it's one of these things where everyone who's played the game is preparing for that surprise card. Someone's gonna get the big card, and you better have a defense against it, otherwise you're just gonna get trounced. And if you don't know that about that card to begin with, you don't know what to do. So I can understand the place for these heavier type of games, and I'm glad they're out there. I know there's a definite following, but for me, I like to have a game that I could bring to my uncle or my cousins, and we play off of that, and it's all kind of equal. It plays well with whatever audience you have.
How has the state of the world currently affected the way you design games?
Oh, I've definitely thought more about how well it would translate to tabletop simulator or online fashion. I'm actually beginning to see the the market, the opportunities, I should say, for something that is does well for print and play, um, and using that as sort of a launch pad for other things. I'm working in the game kind of a GI Joe theme, and what I'm thinking I want to do is have it just as a print and play. Um, and you can print all the required components, and you can play it for free, and everyone's welcome to it. However, if you want slightly better components, I'll offer you this set. It's got nice dice in it. It's got cards with the linen texture, and you can play it that way too. But if someone wants to play for free, they can play it for free. And it was just, I think, print and play is a great way to. Um, I talked before about pre-marketing, getting the product in front of people. But if it's a print and play, it's put it on the internet, and you can get it to a lot of people, and it's very efficient. I put it on a website. I put it on a PDF. I can talk to people and say, hey, if here's a PDF, it's free. Try it out. If not, no big deal. If you're interested, we can talk more, and I can develop other modules for it. Um, so yeah, it's opened up my eyes. The pandemic has opened up my eyes a lot to what the possibility of the usefulness of the internet for marketing.
Yeah, it gives you a lot of other arms, doesn't it? Especially with the tabletop simulator. And you say the print and play. I think people don't understand. Yeah, just because you have a print and play doesn't mean it's cannibalizing your own business. Because those people that play print and play, and really enjoy it, will go and buy your proper game, the full game, because they want your
Yeah,
professionally made game. They just want to try it first. So
sure.
by offering that for free, you're not then losing sales
Yeah,
by doing that. You're probably gaining more sales because a lot of people don't like to listen to reviewers and would like to know for themselves, so they can get that print and
yeah,
play it, see if they like it, and then go and buy it. So you may even get more customers
yeah,
out.
yeah.
What would be one piece of advice, or the main piece of advice you would give somebody who is thinking about starting to design a game?
My best piece of advice for someone thinking about designing a game is develop your network. Um, get to know other designers, get to know other people in the community, get to know people who like you, who do reviews um, and do live streams and everything. Um, the more people in your network, the easier it is it'll be for you to find the answers that you need, and get a sense of what is really trending, and get a sense of the best practices. Uh, and if you're one of the warning signs I see is when someone develops a game but they're not showing it to other people. Um, Getting your game and getting a lot of feedback for it is just the best way to I think the best way to approach game design. You can see a lot of errors and things you never thought of, um, that were problems. Will come up. I'm like, I didn't think of that, and a lot of things that Saint Scoundrels did not start. It started off completely different. What I thought would be fun turned out not to be fun at all. And I've had several feedback say, why are you doing this? Do this, and I think to myself, that doesn't sound good at all. And then I started thinking about it, like, after thinking about it a couple of days, I think that would be more fun than what I had originally come up with. And you try it and said, hey, look at this. It's a new direction this game is going. And so, but you wouldn't figure that out unless you had the network to get feedback for your game.
Well, thank you so much for coming and talking to me today, Gary. That was amazing.
Oh, I appreciate it. I appreciate the opportunity, Chris.
And I wish you the best of luck in future.
You too. I'll keep watching.